Hi, my name is Margaret McEwen, and I'm the owner of Superfine Canine Dog Training. I'm working with Embark to bring dog owners some tips and tricks for the most common training problems. Today we're going to be talking about leash walking. Leash walking can be a very frustrating skill to train, and it can take a lot of time to teach your dog to walk nicely on leash. I find the fastest and kindest way of doing that is teaching the dog to give an automatic check-in. So what do I mean by check-in and what do I mean by automatic? Check-in is just something your dog would do to acknowledge your presence. So if I'm walking my dog, I want my dog to just check in with me every once in a while, right? You're there, Mom. I'm going to condition this by training and rewarding. Now, what do I mean by automatic? What I mean by automatic is that I don't want to have to ask my dog to look at me while we're walking. I don't want my walk to sound like this. Fido, good boy. Fido, good boy. Fido, yes. Fido, good boy, right? We don't want to have to ask the dog to check in with us. We want it to just be something that the dog is conditioned to do. So next, how do we train this? The first thing you want to do is you want to get yourself the appropriate equipment for walking your dog. That could be a harness, it could be a collar. You would most likely want to use a regular leash as opposed to a retractable leash, the flexi leashes. You're going to get yourself a bunch of treats, something that your dog finds very appealing, and you're going to put them in a pocket or in a food pouch, and you're going to go out for your walk. You're going to keep your dog on a short leash because we want them right next to you. A dog that's out in front of you for 6 feet of leash and the entire length of your arm is not even going to think about where you are. They're thinking about what's going on up ahead, and they're looking for squirrels and they're looking for other things, and their nose is on the ground sniffing. So we want to get your dog next to you. When you're walking your dog and you need to keep the leash short to keep your dog next to you, be sure that you're sliding your hand down the leash closer to the dog's neck rather than using your shoulder or pulling back this way to keep the dog next to you. Having your arm relaxed at your side while you're holding onto your dog's leash is going to help your dog relax a little bit, but it's also going to save your shoulder and your neck from some trouble. Now, when I say check in, your dog's probably not going to just look at you, and we don't want to bribe them with food. So what you'll do is you'll wait for your dog to even give the slightest glance in your direction. So say you're walking along and a leaf blows by over here and your dog turns to look at it. Take that opportunity, mark that with a yes or a good boy, and get a treat to your dog. He's going to wonder why that just happened, but it'll happen again. And the more you're able to reward that, the more he's likely to then really look at you to check in. Now, the placement of the treat's important. You don't want to just bring a treat out in front of you and have your dog come across you to get to it. That's a tripping hazard. You want to get that treat down to your dog, right to his mouth. Okay? The other important thing is to get that verbal acknowledgement out, because you're going to need it later just to say to your dog, that's it, good boy, good for looking at me. But you also want to time it so the dog knows exactly why he's getting that treat. If you wait until you're fishing around in your pocket or in your food pouch, the dog will have looked away and maybe put his nose to the ground or looked at a squirrel up in the trees. So you want to be sure that you have the timing right and you're marking the right behavior. Now, this is going to take some time and it's going to take some treats, but it's conditioning. It's something a dog would not normally do. When we walk down the street, with somebody, we glance in their way when we're talking. We don't just walk straight ahead like robots, right? We're more interested in the conversation that we're having with our partner than we are looking for things like squirrels and leaves, okay? So there's some demonstration video that I'm going to provide for you regarding leash walking, and I wish you luck. Now, I do want to say that if you have a dog that's reactive on leash, meaning they're barking and lunging towards other dogs or even people, you want to get the help of a professional dog trainer. This is a good start for teaching your dog in a low distracting environment, but if your dog is reactive, you're going to want to reach out to a professional Remember, as you're walking your dog, you might kind of get into it that your dog is checking in with you and you're checking in with your dog, and you might kind of get lost in that whole thing. So be sure that you're giving your dogs an opportunity to go sniff, to go potty, but be sure that you are showing them when it's okay, that you're not just letting them pull off to the side and be like, oh, they must have to go to the bathroom. When you get to a designated spot that you're comfortable, you can say to your dog, okay, and then you can let them have the length of the leash so they can go and sniff and, quite frankly, be a dog. So keep up the practice on this. It can take a long time, but again, this is one of the fastest and kindest ways that I know of training a dog to walk nicely on a leash. Start with your dog at your side on a short leash. As you walk forward, wait for your dog to even slightly turn his or her head towards you. When he does, you want to acknowledge it with a yes and bring a treat to the dog's mouth. Be careful that you're not bringing the treat in front of you and having the dog meet you halfway, because that could be a tripping hazard. While this video shows the handler not using food at all, you want to be sure that you do randomly reward your dog from time to time to keep this behavior strong. Keep up the practice on this. It can take a long time, but again, this is one of the fastest and kindest ways that I know of training a dog to walk nicely on a leash. We'll do a little follow-up in another video, and I just wish you luck.